This Cathar warship Huntmaster drifted through the edges of Earth's solar system, its once pristine hull now bearing the scars of a fierce battle. Emergency lights pulsed weakly along its lateral fins as internal systems struggled to maintain basic life support. Inside the command center, First Hunter Kextall clicked his mandibles in frustration while reviewing damage reports on flickering holographic displays. Multiple hull breaches in sectors 7 through 12, reported Second Hunter Vexi, her scaled hands dancing across the control interface. Primary engines offline. Secondary power at 30% and falling. Kextall's inner eyelids narrowed as he studied the nearby celestial bodies. Their emergency jump had taken them far from charted space, and now they floated near an unremarkable yellow star. Any habitable worlds in range? 1. Vexi confirmed, bringing up scan data. Third planet. Nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere. Technological civilization detected. No record in our database. Before Kextall could respond, proximity alarms blared. Multiple vessels approached their position, small compared to the Huntmaster, but moving with precision and formation. The First Hunter tensed, ready for another fight, but these ships made no aggressive moves. "They're hailing us," Vexi announced, surprise evident in her dual-tone voice. The main view screen activated, revealing a sight that made both hunters step back in shock. The creature addressing them appeared soft, pink, and completely lacking natural armor. Its facial features were flat, with small eyes and no visible fighting appendages. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. We've detected your distress signal and are here to render assistance. Do you require immediate evacuation?" Kextall exchanged glances with Vexi. The translation matrix conveyed clear meaning, but surely this fragile being couldn't be in command. Yet as they watched, the small Earth vessels executed complex maneuvers to create a protective screen around the Huntmaster, their formations speaking of careful training and tactical awareness. "We accept your assistance," Kextall replied carefully. "Our ship sustained heavy damage in combat with space raiders. We have wounded aboard." The human captain nodded, her expression shifting in a way the hunters couldn't interpret. "Medical teams are standing by. We'll begin rescue operations immediately. Please prepare your crew for transfer." What followed left the proud Cathar warriors struggling to maintain their composure. The humans moved with extraordinary coordination, their rescue teams demonstrating sophisticated technology that compensated for their physical limitations. They showed no fear of the towering, armored aliens, efficiently treating the wounded and stabilizing critical systems. Most disconcerting was their adaptability. When standard docking procedures proved incompatible, the humans quickly devised alternative solutions. When faced with unfamiliar Cathar technology, they analyzed and adjusted their approach within minutes. As Kextall watched a small human engineer rewire a damaged power conduit, a task that should have required twice the arm strength, he felt an unfamiliar sensation. Uncertainty. These creatures were unlike any species the Cathar had encountered in their long history of galactic conquest. "First Hunter," Vexi whispered, "these humans, they're not what they appear to be." Kextall clicked in agreement, his warrior instincts sensing hidden depths beneath the humans' seemingly vulnerable exterior. As their rescue operations continued with military precision, he knew this Cathar empire would need to reevaluate its understanding of what made a species truly dangerous. The Grand Hall of this Cathar High Council towered above Earth's diplomatic delegation, its crystalline walls reflecting the light of 3 suns. Admiral James Rodriguez stood calmly before the assembled alien leaders, his dress uniform a stark contrast to their natural armor and bio-enhanced battle gear. "Your species challenges our understanding," Emperor Zixthar rumbled from his elevated throne. "Our scouts report your worlds are defended by warriors who lack basic survival adaptations. No claws, no armor, minimal strength. Yet you rescued one of our finest warships." The Emperor's inner eyelids narrowed as he studied the human before him. "Therefore, you shall face the trials. Prove your worth or submit to protection under our empire." Rodriguez kept his expression neutral, though his mind raced through contingency plans. The Skthar combat trials were infamous throughout known space, brutal contests where species proved their right to independence. "We accept," Rodriguez replied, causing murmurs among the gathered aliens. "However, we request using our chosen warriors rather than matching your selection criteria." The Emperor's tail lashed in surprise. "You would send your weak into our trials? This is not a game, human. The battles are lethal." "We understand completely," Rodriguez assured him. "Our team is already prepared." Hours later, the Skthar War Masters stared in disbelief at the human combat team. Instead of their largest specimens, Earth had sent 6 average-sized soldiers. Their only obvious weapons were simple projectile firearms and light combat suits. "This is an insult," roared War Master Kexferal, his armored scales bristling. "They mock our sacred traditions." Captain Sarah Chen, leader of the human team, merely checked her equipment with practiced efficiency. Her teammates, selected from various special forces units, maintained similar professional calm. "First trial begins in 10 units, announced the arena master. "Single combat against a Drachnid hunter. Prepare yourselves." The Skthar observers expected the humans to choose their largest male. Instead, Lieutenant Maya Patel stepped forward, her compact frame making the massive Drachnid seem even more imposing. As the battle signal sounded, the alien hunter charged with devastating speed. But Patel was already moving, her movements precise and economical. She rolled beneath the creature's strike, used its momentum against it, and within moments had maneuvered it into a vulnerable position. The assembled aliens watched in stunned silence as Patel systematically dismantled her opponent's advantages. When the Drachnid finally fell, disabled by carefully placed shots and tactical positioning, the arena grew deathly quiet. "Impossible," whispered Skthar Noble. "She never matched its strength." "She never needed to," Rodriguez replied softly. "Humanity learned long ago that victory belongs to the smart, not just the strong." The Emperor's expression was unreadable as he studied the human team. Their calm preparation for the next trial suggested this was merely the beginning of their demonstration. For the first time in centuries, the Skthar leader felt something approaching concern about the challenges ahead. The third trial arena resembled an Earth rainforest, complete with dense vegetation and unpredictable terrain. Lieutenant Maya Patel crouched behind massive alien foliage, her team spread out in strategic positions around her. Their opponents, elite Skthar hunters, moved through the jungle with predatory grace. "They're expecting us to hide," Captain Chen whispered through their secure comm channel. "Let's show them why that's a mistake." The human team had spent hours studying Skthar combat footage. Their opponents relied on superior senses and strength, but followed predictable attack patterns. This would be their undoing. Private First Class Jackson triggered the first trap, a simple noisemaker that drew 2 Skthar warriors into a prepared killing zone. Before they could react, coordinated fire from 3 different positions eliminated their shields. The aliens retreated, only to find their escape route blocked by clever use of terrain. "Impossible," one hunter roared. "Their weapons are primitive." "Primitive doesn't mean ineffective," Chen replied calmly, her voice carrying through the jungle. The psychological impact was calculated. Skthar warriors hated unseen threats. The human team continued their masterful display of guerrilla tactics. They used the environment as a weapon, herded their physically superior opponents into disadvantageous positions, and systematically stripped away the aliens' technological advantages. From the observation deck, Emperor Skthar watched with growing fascination. "They fight like water," he remarked to Admiral Rodriguez, "flowing around strength, finding weaknesses, then striking with unexpected force." "Humans learned warfare from studying nature," Rodriguez explained. "Not just predators, but prey as well. Sometimes survival requires outsmarting those who are stronger." Below, the battle reached its climax. The remaining Skthar hunters, frustrated by their invisible tormentors, grouped together for a final push. It was exactly what the humans had planned for. Chen's voice echoed through the arena. Spring the trap. Multiple prepared positions activated simultaneously. The terrain itself seemed to turn against the Scathar as carefully planned demolitions altered the battlefield geometry. Caught in the chaos, the mighty hunters found themselves isolated and eliminated one by one. When the dust settled, the human team emerged unscathed. They had defeated the galaxy's most feared warriors without ever engaging in direct combat. War Master Kexferal's scales rippled with barely contained emotion. This is not how warriors fight. No, Chen agreed, cleaning her weapon with practiced ease. This is how warriors win. The Emperor's inner eyelids clicked rapidly, a sign of deep thought among his species. These humans had demonstrated something beyond mere combat skill. They had shown the ability to turn any situation to their advantage, to make weapons of their surroundings, and to defeat physically superior foes through superior thinking. As the human team prepared for the next trial, whispers spread through the alien observers. Perhaps they had underestimated these soft-skinned creatures. Perhaps strength and natural weapons weren't the only path to dominance among the stars. News of humanity's performance in the Scathar trials spread rapidly across galactic communication networks. The Ravix, cybernetically enhanced hunters from the galactic core, monitored footage of the trials with their neural processors cycling in disbelief. They defeated our greatest rivals without matching strength, First Hunt leader Vexcar observed, his mechanical eyes analyzing every detail. These humans turn weakness into advantage. In the hive sectors, the insectoid Crithid queens shared concerning reports. Human exploration vessels had been encountered near their territory. Instead of fleeing from Crithid hunter swarms, the Earth ships demonstrated unprecedented tactical responses. They adapt too quickly, clicked Queen Mother Ixthi. Each encounter reveals new strategies. They learn from every engagement. The Drachnid Imperium, watching their border stations, noted a disturbing pattern. Human ships never followed predictable patrol routes. They appeared where least expected, gathered intelligence, and vanished before powerful Drachnid warships could respond. On a dozen worlds, apex predator species began marking human-controlled space with warning signals. Their traditional hunting grounds near Earth colonies remained conspicuously empty. The humans had achieved something unprecedented. They made themselves too troublesome to hunt. Their weakness is deceptive, warned a Scathar commander during a high-level strategic briefing. They turn every disadvantage into a weapon. Attack their colonies, they scatter like prey. Follow them, and you find yourself in their trap. The galaxy's most feared warriors started sharing stories. Tales of human special forces using environmental hazards against superior opponents. Accounts of Earth ships outmaneuvering predator fleets through clever use of stellar phenomena. Reports of human defenders using their own planet's harsh conditions as defensive advantages. In the prestigious War College of the Scathar Empire, tactical instructors added new courses. Understanding human combat doctrine became required study. Young warriors learned harsh lessons about underestimating physically weaker species. Watch this footage, a veteran instructor commanded his students. Observe how they move like prey, strike like predators, and think like neither. This makes them more dangerous than both. Even the mysterious shadow hunters, ancient assassins who prided themselves on eliminating any target, started refusing contracts on human VIPs. Their guild masters cited unacceptable risk factors and unprecedented defensive innovations. Admiral Rodriguez, reading intelligence reports about this growing reputation, allowed himself a small smile. Humanity had achieved something remarkable. They had made the galaxy's apex predators reconsider the very nature of strength. An intercepted Drachnid transmission summed up the new reality. Engaging humans in combat is like grasping water. The harder you squeeze, the more completely it slips through your claws. Deep within the Drachnid Imperium's war chamber, clan leaders gathered around a holographic display of human-controlled space. The massive coalition fleet, comprised of Scathar dreadnoughts, Crithid high ships, and Revix hunter-killers, prepared for simultaneous strikes against Earth's colonies. Their adaptability makes them dangerous, General Kazthor growled. We must eliminate their outposts before they grow stronger. But as the coalition forces approached their targets, they encountered something unexpected. The supposedly vulnerable human colonies bristled with previously undetected defenses. Each world had been fortified in ways specifically tailored to counter different predatory species. On New Eden, Crithid swarms faced automated defense networks that predicted and disrupted their hive mind coordination. Ravix cyber warriors found their neural networks hacked by Earth's AI systems, their own enhanced capabilities turned against them. Impossible, roared Admiral Vexkar as another Drachnid battle group reported heavy losses. They knew exactly where we would strike. In Earth's Central Command, General Sarah Chen studied the unfolding battles with calculated calm. Pattern recognition analysis suggested this coalition was forming months ago. We prepared accordingly. The human counter-strategy revealed layers of planning. Colony defenses had been disguised as weaknesses, drawing the coalition forces into prepared killing zones. Earth's seemingly scattered fleet suddenly demonstrated coordinated responses that trapped the attackers between multiple forces. They turned our own tactical doctrine against us, a Scathar commander reported in disbelief. Every strategy we employed was anticipated and countered. The coalition's carefully planned offensive collapsed into chaos. Human forces demonstrated uncanny ability to exploit the natural tensions between different predator species. Subtle manipulations caused Drachnid and Crithid forces to suspect each other of betrayal, while Ravix battle computers fell victim to carefully crafted disinformation. Admiral Rodriguez addressed the Earth Defense Council as reports of victory flowed in. Our greatest strength isn't our weapons or defenses. It's our ability to understand our opponents and prepare accordingly. The coalition forces retreated in disarray, their confidence shattered. They had expected to find vulnerable colonies ripe for conquest. Instead, they discovered that humanity had spent months preparing a masterful defense that turned their own predatory instincts into fatal weaknesses. In the aftermath, intercepted communications revealed the coalition leaders' growing fear. These humans weren't just clever prey or unexpected predators. They were something entirely new. A species that transformed tactical analysis and preparation into an art form more potent than natural weapons or cybernetic enhancement. The Earth Defense Force launched their counter-offensive with surgical precision. Instead of matching the coalition's brute force, they employed specialized units trained to exploit each species' psychological weaknesses. Operation Shadow Dance began with targeting the Scathar battle groups. Human stealth ships deployed smart mines that emitted biosignals mimicking prey species. The proud hunters couldn't resist investigating, scattering their formation and leaving them vulnerable to coordinated strikes. Their hunting instincts make them predictable, Captain Maya Patil observed from her command center. Let's show them why that's dangerous. Against the Crithid swarms, Earth forces utilized electromagnetic pulses calibrated to disrupt their hive mind communication. The normally coordinated insectoids descended into confusion as their neural links failed. Human strike teams exploited the chaos, eliminating queenships with precision attacks. The Ravix cyber warriors faced a different challenge. Earth's AI systems engaged them in digital warfare, introducing subtle errors into their combat calculations. Their enhanced reflexes became a liability as false data caused them to react to phantom threats. Admiral Rodriguez supervised the masterful campaign from Earth Command. They expected us to fight like cornered prey. Instead, we're hunting the hunters. Each coalition species found their natural advantages turned against them. Drachnid warriors, accustomed to overwhelming force, were lured into environmental hazards. Their powerful weapons proved useless against automated drone swarms that adapted to their attack patterns. The human strategy revealed remarkable understanding of predator psychology. They created elaborate deceptions that played on their enemies' instinctive behaviors. Strong points appeared weak. Traps looked like opportunities, and every aggressive response led to carefully planned consequences. "We're not just fighting their ships," General Chen explained to her staff. "We're exploiting million-year-old instincts they can't ignore." The coalition's mighty armada began to fracture as doubt spread through their ranks. Species that had evolved as apex predators found themselves outmaneuvered by prey that thought 3 steps ahead. Their natural aggression became a weakness against an enemy that turned their own strength against them. Even their retreat routes had been anticipated and prepared for. Human forces herded the broken coalition fleet through territories filled with natural hazards, ensuring their withdrawal was as costly as their attack. As the last enemy ships fled Earth-controlled space, Admiral Rodriguez received reports of unprecedented casualties among the coalition forces. Humanity had demonstrated something terrifying: the ability to defeat multiple apex species simultaneously through superior strategy and psychological warfare. The message to the galaxy was clear. Earth didn't need biological weapons or natural armor. Their greatest weapon was their understanding of how predators think and how to use that knowledge against them. In the Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Assembly, representatives from 100 species gathered to discuss humanity's unprecedented victory. The Scathar Emperor himself addressed the assembly, his scales gleaming under the crystalline lights. "We have witnessed evolution's alternative path," he declared. "While we grew stronger, faster, more lethal, humans grew smarter." Scientists from various species presented their analyses of human combat doctrine. They discovered something remarkable. Earth's military strategy reflected their entire evolutionary history, as prey species that became apex predators through intelligence rather than physical prowess. Their bodies remember fleeing from predators, a Crithid researcher explained, but their minds developed the ability to turn survival into victory. The Revics, despite their cybernetic superiority, found themselves particularly troubled by human adaptability. Their neural processors had identified 37 distinct ways humans could potentially defeat their enhanced capabilities. They transform weakness into strength, observed first hunt leader Vexcar. Where we evolved natural weapons, they developed the ability to turn anything into a weapon. Admiral Rodriguez, representing Earth at the assembly, watched the proceedings with interest. The galaxy's most fearsome species now studied human military academies with the same intensity they once reserved for hunting strategies. Reports flowed in from across known space. Predatory species began adopting human tactical doctrines. The concept of strategic superiority over raw power gained unprecedented acceptance among warrior cultures. "They are neither prey nor predator," the Drachnid High Commander noted. "They are something new. Beings who mastered the art of survival so completely that it transcends physical limitations." The assembly chambers buzzed with implications. Species that had evolved as unstoppable forces now faced beings who made adaptability itself into an overwhelming advantage. Perhaps, the Emperor concluded, true dominance comes not from being the strongest, but from understanding strength itself and how to overcome it. As the assembly concluded, a new classification emerged in galactic databases. Humans were categorized as strategic apex species, acknowledging that intelligence and adaptability had become as formidable as any natural weapon. The galaxy's perspective shifted. Physical prowess was no longer the sole measure of species dominance. Earth had demonstrated that the ability to outthink one's opponents could trump any biological advantage. The Galactic Assembly Hall hummed with anticipation as Earth's delegation prepared to mediate the first-ever peace treaty between the Scathar Empire and the Crithid hive mind. Admiral Rodriguez and Captain Chen stood beside the Emperor, their presence a symbol of humanity's new role. "Once we sought to dominate through strength," Emperor Zixthar addressed the gathered species. "Now we understand there are many paths to greatness." The treaty marked a fundamental shift in interstellar relations. Humanity's demonstration of strategic superiority had created a new balance of power. Physical might no longer guarantee dominance in the cosmic arena. Earth's colonies will serve as neutral zones, Chen explained, outlining the agreement. where different species can learn from each other's strengths. The Drachnid Imperium, once dedicated to conquest, now sent their young warriors to train with human military advisors. The Reviks shared cybernetic innovations in exchange for lessons in tactical thinking. Even the solitary shadow hunters emerged from seclusion to study human adaptive strategies. "We created something unprecedented," Rodriguez observed. "A galaxy where intelligence and adaptation matter more than natural weapons." The Emperor's new classification system reflected this reality. Species were no longer ranked by physical capabilities alone. Categories like strategic apex and adaptive dominant acknowledged different paths to evolutionary success. Earth's influence grew not through conquest, but through understanding. Their military academies became centers of galactic learning, where former enemies studied together. The humans' greatest export became their perspective on turning limitations into advantages. From this day forward, the Emperor declared, "We recognize that true power lies not in what nature gives us, but in how we use what we have." As the assembly concluded, the gathered species witnessed something their ancestors would have thought impossible: predator and prey species working together, united by the human example that strength takes many forms. The galaxy entered a new era. Earth stood as living proof that evolution's greatest gift wasn't claws or armor, but the ability to think, adapt, and transform weakness into unbeatable strength.